Happy New Year. My name is Mike Trevisano. I'm ordained as an Osho in our order, and I'm very, very happy to be delivering this particular Dharma talk, our annual New Year's blessing. I think for many, many of us, the past couple of years have felt very much like life has been happening, something that happens to us, that our ability to control our own destiny and to live the way we want to live has been greatly encumbered, to say the least. And I'm sure many of us are looking forward to 2022, kind of like a horror movie, you know, so behind our hands or like under the covers, like what could possibly be coming next? So this particular blessing, I hope to be of some help. We call this blessing in our community the blessing of the Bodhisattva. And we call it that because it works in two important ways. The first is it doesn't depend on anything outside of me. The blessing that we will talk through today and make has nothing to do with the circumstances in which I live. It has everything to do with how I live from my own heart and my own mind. And that's something that we can all do no matter what's going on around us. And the second part of it, because it's the blessing of a bodhisattva is a being that has vowed to stay in the fight, to stay put until all beings are fully awakened, all beings are ready for Buddhahood. And in that way, as we make the blessing for ourselves, for each of us as individuals, we really make it for all beings everywhere. In receiving the blessing, everyone gets it at the exact same time. So the blessing, you probably have heard Sensei Tony say it many times. As a matter of fact, I include this blessing in my own daily practice. I set it as an intent or as an affirmation or something to get me started every day. The blessing is about living fully, loving freely, and giving completely. And the first thoughts I have when I wake up in the morning, my first conscious thought, I kind of sit up in bed and I kind of shaking the sleep off and I think to myself consciously, may I be the person I most want to be today, no matter what happens. And the next things in my mind are this blessing. May I live fully, may I love freely, and may I give completely. So these three lines are much bigger and deeper than what they may sound like on the surface. So I thought I'd walk through those lines first, and then at the end, make the blessing. Maybe we could do it together. So to start, may I live fully. What does it mean to live fully? It's important because I think the only time I hear those words are like at the end of somebody's life, like at a funeral, like somebody says, you know, well, you lived a full life. But we didn't really define what that means, you know, because he went on a lot of trips or he sold a lot of units at work. I'm not sure what that means. So I would like you to consider a thought experiment that helps me to sort of put my arms around the idea of what it means to live fully. So maybe play along with me. Imagine yourself on your own deathbed. I'm sorry, I know that's super grim, maybe, but this is far out. This is years away. We don't have to worry about this yet. This is just a thought experiment. Picture yourself on your deathbed, but instead of there being any kind of fear or anxiety or sense of regret or anything that may ordinarily be associated with these moments, a tragic ending, imagine that it's just the opposite, completely the opposite. You're filled with a sense of overwhelming peace and joy and gratitude and adventure even, that you are filled and exuding a sense of love. You're surrounded by people you love and who love you. You don't even recognize some of them. You're like, who is that? You just haven't met them yet. Imagine that as the moment where you're death is upon you. But instead of it feeling like some sort of depressing, tragic ending, it's the opposite. It feels like wholeness. It feels like the beginning. So the question then, why? Like, how'd you get there? Like, however you feel now, maybe you don't feel so much that way now. What changed between now and this moment, hopefully way out in the future? This moment here, where none of us know when it's going to happen. It could be any time. What changed in between now and then? For myself, the only way that I can arrive at some semblance of where I think that could be possible, because until I meet that experience, I'm not sure I can give a very certain answer, but the only way I can imagine getting anywhere close is if I imagine my life not about my accomplishments or what I did, right? Like, none of those things kind of get it for me if I test them. Well, let's imagine you visited every country, or you owned a bunch of boats. I don't know what. You became CEO or president or whatever that thing, still doesn't get me there. But when I think of times in my life of pure beingness, they start to feel like that moment could possibly feel. If I think of times where I just laughed my face off, or times where I noticed someone I love in pure happiness and joy, the joy that I feel for them in that moment, like, starts to feel like, wow, I can imagine what that might feel like. In other words, I think it's about being more than it is about what we do or what we have. In our mindfulness models that we teach here, we talk about that there's this sense of self that's about doing and having, and then there's this sense of self that's about being. And when I get over in this side, I can start to imagine it. It's the campfire with close friends. It's the looking across the room and noticing the people in my life who I love so much. And in that noticing, in that blink of an eye noticing, a different kind of world opens up, of connection, of love. I can imagine that moment there. And I think living fully means a lifetime of that life is much more about the how than it is about the what. And so in this part of the blessing, may you live fully. This is what we're talking about. May you see the walls that we build for ourselves within our own hearts and minds that keep us from this beingness. May you see the barriers we put in between us and the person we most want to be. Not the person who has stuff or does stuff or looks a certain way or has Instagram followers. Cares. It's the person I most want to be in my heart. May you see those walls, and may you, with just the easiest brush of your hand, brush that wall away, no matter how tall it is and no matter what it's made of. May you live fully. The next part of the blessing, may you love completely. May you love freely. In loving freely, what we're talking about is, may you love without any sense of condition. We all grew up and learned how to love. Right? We learned what's cool, what's not cool, the kind of person that's deserving love, the kind of people that aren't deserving love. We learned in our conditioning what it feels like to be wronged, and in being wronged, how to not forgive for that kind of action. We learned these things, and we're reinforced through our lives. And so this part of the blessing is, can we remove that barrier as well? Can we begin to love regardless of action, regardless of the people around us? This is tough, because it not only includes people outside of ourselves, who we consider outside of ourselves, but it includes ourselves as well. I have learned in my life what parts of me seem to work and are okay and are worth liking, and what parts of me are not. And I reject in my own heart parts of myself I don't allow myself to forgive aspects of myself. I feel guilty, tremendously guilty. I feel embarrassed. I have cringy moments from high school, from years ago, that I just can't seem to get by, right? We all have this. It's the badge of being human. You're welcome, right? This part of the blessing is about removing that barrier. Here's another thought experiment, maybe to help us practice. Picture in your mind someone in your life, a child, a best friend, someone in your family, a little animal friend that you have, or a big animal friend. Picture the one that you love the most. Then, I mean, we don't rank order the people we love, right? But picture one that your heart just immediately opens. The moment you think of them, your heart just grows 10 sizes. Like, oh my gosh, like them, they do no wrong. They could do anything, and I would love them the same, and I would be right next to them. I would support them no matter what it was that they encountered in their own life. Picture that person. And in doing so, recognize that that's you. That's your capacity for love, that you have that. It's just that in this instance, it's kind of easy to target. So in this blessing, may you feel that part of yourself that loves them so much. And may you turn it on yourself. Like, may you be your own very best pal. May you be able to walk up to yourself, put your arm around yourself, no matter what it is that you're going through, and forgive. Forgive yourself, forgive others. Provide the support and recognize that that is something inside you. It's always there. You know it because you can picture this other being that you do it so easily for. So may you be able to do that for yourself. May you love unconditionally. May you love freely. May there be no barrier between you and how you can feel for anybody. May there be no sin committed by anyone else that is beyond the pale of your love. And it doesn't mean that folks are unaccountable for their actions, or that we give them a pass for something that truly needs to be accounted for. It doesn't mean that, but it means that I love them nonetheless, and that I operate from that. The third part of the blessing, may you give completely. This is truly the mark of a bodhisattva in here. It is the mark that recognizes the moment I am who I most want to be, the world around me changes automatically. It recognizes my interbeing, that I am not this little tiny something sitting all by myself alone in the world. It recognizes that who I am is a relationship with everything around me, that I am the air. I have a relationship with the air, that if the air wasn't there, I wouldn't be here either. So I see that. I see that every action that I take has an impact, just as every action others take has an impact. And an understanding that everything I am is a relationship to all that's around me, all the beings, all the creatures, all the humans, all the planets, all the stuff. Oneness is not some esoteric, new agey, I am one with every. Oneness is real. It is something I can see right in front of my face. I can see the relationships I have. And in recognizing those relationships, may I be who I most want to be, because that's how things change. May I realize that every step I take on my own spiritual journey doesn't only change me, it changes everything. So, I'd like to offer the blessing now. And I'd like to do it in the form of a giving and receiving meditation. In that, I'm going to make it for myself, and then I'm going to walk outward from little old Mike in circles until we get to everybody. And I invite you to join me. There's nothing magical about me. We can do it together. May I live fully. May I love freely. May I give completely. May you live fully. May you love freely. May you give completely. Now let's think of somebody that we love. Just maybe draw up that person that we were just talking about a couple of minutes ago. That person whose heart, the person who makes your heart just blow up. May this person that we love so easily, so fully, or this being, this animal friend, may they live fully, may they love freely, may they give completely. Let's walk ourselves out one more circle. Somebody that we don't know. Somebody you've noticed. You kind of know what they look like. You passed them in the hall. You saw them in the car next to yours, or, the Uber driver you had 3 years ago. You kind of still remember a little bit what they looked like. Draw them up in your mind. Somebody you don't know. May they live fully. May they love freely. May they give completely. Now let's walk out one more circle. Now this one can be a little tough. Let's draw to mind somebody that you have a problem with, that you may even consider an enemy. Somebody that you have a difficult time wishing anything good for, let alone offering them a blessing. But you're going to do it anyway because you are so cool. May this person who I have such a hard time with, may they live fully, may they love freely, may they give completely. Now it's time to go as big as we can to all beings across all space and time, to everyone that we love and know that lived before but are no longer here with us, to everyone in every country that we just won't visit, to every being, every grasshopper and every gorilla, every whale, and to all beings that just aren't born yet but are coming. May everyone in our lives, everyone outside of our lives, every alien, everyone everywhere, may they live fully, may they love freely, may they give